Flash games. If you are like me and finished your work early in school, or if you are unlike me and decided to skip doing your work in school, or if you were just bored at your computer, then you had a home with Flash games, the optimal time wasters. And while they can be overlooked nowadays, and the Adobe Flash Player is dead, these games hold a special place in my heart alongside all other browser games.
So, with me being the nerd that I am, I suppose it's time for me to start talking about some of the best Flash games I can find. So that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching.
In this video, we'll be talking about two types of Flash games. Ones scavenged by the Ruffle Flash Player, and ones that aren't actually made of Flash at all, or browser-based games, which are going to be more frequent. I won't be talking about IO games as those don't really fit into the brand of this video, but without further ado, let's start off with the game that won the poll, Run 3.
Yeah, somehow Run 3 beat two Game of the Year contenders and the entirety of virtual reality.
Run 3 is a very simple game. You run forward and you jump through a variety of levels. Run 3 works as well as it does due to two reasons that we're going to see pop up again and again throughout all these Flash games. It's a pick up and play experience, and the controls are very simple. You are restricted to auto-running forward, moving left and right, and jumping in Run 3. That is less input than the first ever Super Mario Bros. Game, and as such, it's about as simple as control schemes can be. So, due to this, literally anybody can play it. As well as this, you can see the simplistic design of Run 3 here, as with a single press of the keyboard, you're instantly transported into the first level, with no end in sight. Combined with this, there's also an endless mode which makes Run 3 the perfect time waster for any chums in school. In fact, I actually got the idea for doing a video on Flash games because I was playing Run 3 in my computer science class. But Run 3 is the game that I picked as the header for Flash games for one simple reason. And that's the fact that it's not just a school time waster that you pick up and play it now and again, but an actual full game. Run 3 has a full 309 levels to play, each of which will take you about a minute or so to complete, with some levels taking longer than others. This means that bare minimum, Run 3 would take a full 5 hours to complete, dwarfing many other Flash games in regards to this. Run 3 also has a full plot as well. Essentially, the characters in the game have gone into tunnels far in space, and some characters think that they should stay in the tunnels, while some want to go back to Earth, which they can't go to very easily because plot reasons. I'm just gonna keep that in. It's not the most engaging plot, because it's still a free browser game, but it's still very impressive. But what if we had a game that has an amazing plot in spite of that? And there is one game that absolutely works as a Flash game that is fully ascended past its status as a web browser game, even as going as far as to get a full remaster and a game on Steam, the Henry Stickmin Collection. The Henry Stickmin games are in a league of their own. The Choose Your Own Adventure series started with Breaking the Bank, the first ever game in the series with only 6 choices and one successful choice which set up the sequel, Escaping the Prison, the first fully fledged game with multiple endings. These games are amazing, and even though they don't have the same replay value as games like Run 3 with its endless mode and 309 levels, while the control scheme is just clicking, and even though if you don't have the needed sense of humor you will also not enjoy this game that much, that doesn't hurt Henry Stickmin as a game. With its entertaining Choose Your Own Adventure premise, you can see all of the wacky and creative endings and fails, and have a blast while doing it. If you're a video game fan, this is also reference galore, and Henry Stickmin really seems like the Super Smash Bros. Of Flash games. And even if you cannot appreciate the Henry Stickmin games, you still have to admire the hard work and passion that has been put into it.
But if you were to ask me if I consider Henry Stickmin a Flash game, I'd say no, because I said it descended to that status. But now, let's move on to the Flash game that's truly defined a generation.
You serious?
Cookie Clicker is a simple game, in the fact that the control scheme is literally even simpler than the Henry Stickmin games. So, what the hell makes it so addicting? Well, if you've been paying attention, then you'd know that this is the fact that it's a long-term pick-up and play experience, as one of the most enticing aspects of Cookie Clicker is that you can leave it on in the background. I remember leaving my Chromebook plugged in with its display at 45 degrees so I could fit it in the cupboard, and then leaving it playing for the weekend in elementary school, and then coming back to see that I had a trillion cookies. Which leads me to another reason Cookie Clicker was so popular, because the numbers going up really made your brain feel good. It was simple, and there was no way to lose. Only game.
So up to this point, we've only talked about 3 browser-based games, which isn't that much. So,
what do you say we kick this up a notch? Castle Crashing the Beard HD is a remake of a game which is a spin-off of Castle Crashers, so try saying that 3 times fast, in which the creator said he wouldn't shave his beard until the game was complete, thus making a game where you fight a giant bearded dude. I figured out the controls in 2 seconds, but it's a tiny bit complicated for a Flash game, and the ability for you to just press a button and play is amazing. It also has replayability added with the various pets, and as someone who is 100% of the game, I will say there are a few balancing issues, but despite that, it's very good. Super Smash Flash 2 is a Flash game that transcends the title of a Flash game, as its goal is to show that Flash is an underutilized programming interface, and it succeeds in this goal. Super Smash Flash 2 is about as good as an official Super Smash Bros. Game, with completely new characters, assets, stages, artwork, and more to boot. Back in the day, I used to love playing this game at school, but since Flash has died for the most part, I've been unable to play it there. But can I beat Goku though? Why yes. Another great browser-based game that my friends play in computer science class is Shell Shockers, a fully fledged first-person shooter in your browser. And I have no real complaints about it. It's just like a normal FPS game with all the positives and negatives that come with it. And to end off the rapid fire section, Pokemon Tower Defense was an amazing game suggested to be added to this list by Quilla. And it was an amazing game utilizing the unique gimmicks of Pokemon in order to create a satisfying tower defense experience. Just like Bloons Tower Defense as well, which has equally creative gimmicks in store, preparing me for real life. Private, man your battle station. We need to protect that tower.
where are the monkeys?
So, why exactly do Flash games succeed? And why are these the best ones? Well, that question can't be answered the same way that question would be answered for any normal video games. They need to have a vision, a passion, and they need to understand what makes their genre work. As an example, there are countless emulators for games such as Pokemon Fire Red, but since the average time of completion for Pokemon Fire Red is 24 hours, people aren't really going to want to try playing that in one sitting. Castle Crashing the Beard, Super Smash Flash 2, Shell Shockers, they all understand this gameplay, and they are some of the most fun and well-made Flash games because of that. I'm GlitchyBurger, and I am now going to commit cannibalism.
75%.